Hello and welcome. My name is Marco Melfi and I work with the City of Edmonton on the District Planning Project. Before we start, we wanted to give a brief thanks to EFCL, Laura and Jonathan, and the whole team for inviting us to join this conversation with you. Among you are city builders, all committed to building a future Edmonton that welcomes and accommodates an additional 1 million people. We're building a city for everyone, and we are not alone in this work. We need to and are engaging a diverse demographic of people, from residents to developers and builders to businesses big and small. We're looking forward to engaging with you throughout the coming months. And today we'll review several key initiatives underway to help implement Edmonton's city plan. I'm providing a brief intro before I turn it over to my colleagues. Here with me today is Michael Strong, Project Manager for District Planning, Shauna Kuiper, the General Supervisor for the Urban Strategy section, and Olivia Ballone, Director of the Zoning Bylaw Renewal Initiative. Before we dive into the agenda, we wanted to acknowledge the land that we are fortunate to be able to live and work in is Treaty 6 territory, the ancestral lands of the Cree, the Dene, the Saulteaux, Nakota Sioux, and Blackfoot peoples, and the homeland of the Métis Nation and the largest concentration of Inuit south of the 60th parallel. This acknowledgement is significant to us as planning and zoning are really about land. Land is used for many things, and it is tied to the practice of culture. We owe our presence here and the city's vitality and very existence to the land itself and the cultures that help build the city. Today, we'll start with a general look at the city plan and how it's impacting the way the city is changing how it guides and regulates land development. Next, we'll introduce the District Planning Project and the Zoning Bylaw Renewal Initiative. We'll also highlight future touchpoints, opportunities for you to learn more about both projects and provide input. After the presentation, we'll open it up for questions. Understand that no single project discussed stands on its own. They are all interconnected and working together to help simplify and streamline our service delivery while realizing the city plan's land use concept. Now I'll invite Michael to speak about the city plan.
All right, thanks, Marco. The city plan combines both land use and transportation planning into one strategic document. It was approved by Council on December 9th, 2020, after years of technical studies and engagements with Edmontonians, industry, and stakeholders. The city plan consists of three integrated systems: planning and design, mobility, and managing growth. The city plan asks thousands of Edmontonians the question, what choices do we need to make to be a healthy, urban, and climate-resilient city of 2 million people that supports a prosperous region? That big question led to the big city moves, the big picture thinking and priorities for the entire city you see here. They ground all of our policy. The city plan outlines 5 big city moves. Greener as we grow is a commitment to develop a healthy city while also protecting and enhancing our land, air, water, and biodiversity. A rebuildable city is a commitment to reimagine and rebuild our built environment to meet the needs of the future. A community of communities is a commitment to welcome new residents and accommodate them with important amenities, services, jobs, and transportation. Inclusive and compassionate is a commitment to improve equity, end poverty, eliminate racism, and make clear progress towards truth and reconciliation. Lastly, catalyze and converge is a commitment to continually improve Edmonton's competitiveness and readiness through partnerships, innovation, and coordination. A layer just below the big city moves is our guiding values. They help us achieve those priorities. The main policies within the city plan fall within the 6 chapters of the city plan's guiding values: belong, live, thrive, access, preserve, and create. These policies guide the decisions we make as we integrate, transform, and adapt our physical systems and networks to realize how we can accommodate 2 million people. Today, we're going to zoom in on 2 initiatives. They are currently underway and will help implement the city plan. The first is district planning, and second, zoning bylaw renewal. Together, these initiatives will lead to statutory plans and an updated land use bylaw. As you can see from this graphic, the city plan sets the foundation for our city's growth. It paints the picture of where Edmonton is headed over the next 50 plus years, and that's all about welcoming an additional 1 million people to our city. But to help us activate the city plan, we have a giant planning toolbox, and it includes statutory plans, a land use plan, municipal bylaws, and other initiatives and tools. It's important to show how district planning and the zoning bylaw renewal integrate and complement each other. Now, I'll turn it over to Shauna, who will share more about district planning.
Thanks, Michael. The first initiative we want to talk about tonight is district planning. District planning will help respond to what Edmontonians shared through the city plan's engagement about wanting to live more locally. Because the city plan sets the strategic direction for how Edmonton will grow to 2 million people, it looks far into the future and provides guidance at a high level. But we still need more detailed direction that informs our land use, mobility, and growth management decisions in the shorter term. Providing that direction at a neighborhood scale, as we have in the past, isn't feasible, as Edmonton has over 405 neighborhoods, as you well know. Instead, the city plan introduced districts, which are collections of neighborhoods that together offer vibrant and diverse places for people to live, work, and play. Districts, and thus district planning, together with an updated zoning bylaw, will help realize Edmontonians' desire to live more locally in a community of communities, one of the city plan's big city moves. The 15-minute concept, popularized by the mayor of Paris and Professor Carlos Moreno, is where a city's residents are able to meet most of their needs within a 15-minute walk, bicycle ride, or transit trip from their home. It is where people can walk to get groceries, kids can walk to or bike to school, families have parks close by to play and recharge in, or where people can take transit to work. Living closer to what we need means we rely less on our cars to travel, which also means less greenhouse gas emissions. It means spending more time in our local community and increasing connections with our neighbors. But creating and fostering that will take time. That is why it is the long-term goal of district planning. First, we need to set that foundation. Setting the foundation means we need to establish the initial structure and content for the first ever district plans in Edmonton. This means leveraging what we already have, what's already working, and what aligns with the city plan. At this time, it's not about creating entirely new visions, policies, or directions. We will draw from the city plan and gather and consolidate existing, approved, relevant policies that align with the city plan and support Edmontonians' desire to live within a community of communities. While the city plan imagines when Edmonton reaches 2 million people, this first evolution of district plans will guide us to 1.25 million and is the first step in population horizon in achieving the city plan. Similar to the city plan, district planning will matter to and serve and benefit all Edmontonians. For residents, district plans will provide a convenient reference for the city's current policies and intentions for development and renewal. For industry and the business community, district plans will be that policy link between the policy in the city plan and regulations of the zoning bylaw, and will streamline guidance for future redevelopment and development. For institutions and community partners, district plans will help with their own planning and investment efforts, creating more opportunities for alignment with the city plan. And last but not least, for administration council, it will provide a consolidated source of policies to inform land use, mobility, and infrastructure recommendations and decisions. Through the planning and development of our engagement activities, we will be applying an equity measures to mitigate barriers to engagement in effort to reach more Edmontonians. This is important not only for engagement, but also for our communication efforts so that we can broaden the understanding of how district planning matters and is intended to serve its residents. The district planning project will include two main components. The first is a document called District General Policy. This will provide general policy guidance that applies to all districts across the city at a level under the city plan. The intention is that it is more equitable in how the city applies policy common to all districts and help simplify it, remove redundancies, mitigate inconsistencies that we currently experience. The second piece will be the 15 district plans. There will be an individual district plan for each of the 15 districts. Each district plan will apply information and direction from the city plan at the district level. This will be illustrated through a series of maps depicting the interdependent elements of the city, such as land use, mobility, and open space, and how they will change over time. Each district plan is intended to be read together with the district general policy and provide any additional specific policy guidance necessary to further guide that district. Given our current scope and focus on setting the foundation, we are leveraging existing approved and relevant planning policies to draft the district general policy and the 15 district plans. For the district general policy, we are drawing first from the city plan, then from other citywide strategies, guidelines, and other policy documents like the transit-oriented development guidelines and the residential infill guidelines. For district plans, we are looking at the city plan and applying what's identified, for example, the nodes and corridors. It also involves reviewing all existing plans in effect, such as area redevelopment plans or a neighborhood structure plan, to determine what, if any, policies and plans may need to be retained. In some cases, we may recommend keeping an entire plan in effect that still provides relevant direction in alignment with the city plan. Or if that existing plan has served its purpose, we may recommend that it be repealed. We've taken this approach and are developing first drafts of all the plans so that we have a common starting point when we begin engagement for all districts. In the next few slides, I will focus on engagement. We are committed to engaging with residents, leagues, industry, businesses, institutions, and partner organizations, whether that's Arts Hub to Alberta Health Services, to developers and the school boards. There are many different audiences, and we will do our best to reach as many as we can. We are committed to following Council's directions to provide additional engagement opportunities that we received in August from Urban Planning Committee. And we will work to be clear on the level of engagement that we need, the input, and how it will be used to inform changes to the draft documents. This is important because we know that the approach to district planning is different than what we are used to. We're not creating plans in the way that we have in the past, and that many are familiar with. We are translating the aspirational guidance that's in the city plan, or in some cases from existing policies or plans in effect that align with the city plan. This is not a visioning exercise, but one that consolidates information that we already have. Your input is still very important because we need to confirm that the information from the city plan has been applied to the district plan, and we need you and your help to catch information that's been missed or applied incorrectly. We know that there will be many unresolved issues that don't reflect or don't fit within the scope of the district plan, and that will require more create level of engagement to address. We will be reporting back on this to Council on these issues, and they will help shape future work and work plans after district plans are addressed by Council. Now I'll switch to highlight the communications and engagement phases that we've identified. Each phase includes different expectations and will build upon the previous phase. Please know that a GBA plus equity lens is being applied to district planning engagement and intentionally to include marginalized individuals or groups and adopts the best practices for diversity and inclusion. Through part one, we will inform everyone about the district planning project and build awareness about upcoming engagement opportunities. This phase will be focused on information sharing as opposed to gathering input. But however, it is very important to prepare everyone with the background, the purpose, and what to expect with this project. In part 2, we will gather the majority of input to help refine the draft general district policy and the district plans for clarification, missing or incorrect information, the appropriate level of detail, and to ensure alignment with the city plan. Formats of engagement will include a wide range of virtual and in-person events, including open houses, workshops, pop-ups, surveys, workbooks. Activities will attempt to gather a range of input from first impressions of the district plans to their general use and how their specific application in different scenarios. We expect that this phase will commence in late summer of this year. Through part 3, we will be gathering feedback used to make remaining minor adjustments for clarity, making sure that we have correct information, and minor adjustments to content. Following phase 3, the district general policy as well as district plans will be advanced to council through public hearing for their consideration. More information will be available in the coming weeks to learn more about the project and our future opportunities to provide input and alignment with zoning bylaw renewal. While we have specific intentions for the different parts of the communication and engagement activities between the two projects, please know that we are being deliberate in our planning and will coordinate both district and zoning activities as much as possible. And with that, I will turn it over to Livia to speak about the zoning bylaw renewal project.
So the next initiative we want to present on is the Zoning Bylaw Renewal Initiative, which is a multi-year comprehensive overhaul of our current zoning bylaw that includes rethinking how, what, and why the city regulates in terms of zoning and land development. The city has made a concerted effort to update its policy framework to create a vision and direction for Edmonton's future. Renewing Edmonton's zoning bylaw provides an opportunity to strategically align our city building tools from the top down, from strategy to regulation, and ensure all Edmontonians and city builders have the necessary tools to build the city envisioned in the city plan. Through the Zoning Bylaw Renewal Initiative, we're striving towards a more streamlined and simplified regulatory and planning landscape, one that will enable and steward social and economic investments and growth throughout our city. But what exactly is zoning? A zoning bylaw can be a very technical planning document. So I want to quickly share an overview of what zoning is. Zoning is everywhere from our parks and our playgrounds to garden suites in the downtown core. The purpose of zoning is to determine what can be built where. It sets the rules for where new buildings should go, what type of buildings they can be, and what type of businesses and activities can happen on a property. Zoning guides growth in an orderly way to minimize conflicts between different activities and can improve the safety, the public health, and the welfare of its citizens and the environment. Zoning is also the main tool used to implement municipal development plans, which is our city plan, and other statutory plans. Every parcel of land is assigned a zone. The zoning bylaw provides the regulations for that zone, and you can find your zone by visiting maps.edmonton.ca. It has been 20 years since the zoning bylaw has been renewed, and almost 60 years since it's gone through an extensive overhaul. Many development regulations that were designed for a small prairie town are still shaping the built form of Edmonton today. Currently, the zoning bylaw is overly complex, has strict zoning rules, cumbersome regulations, and requires workarounds that prevent excellence in service delivery. It has more than doubled in size in the last 20 years. Renewing the zoning bylaw offers an opportunity to align our regulations with our long-term city building goals as articulated in the city plan. It also enables economic development and to ensure all Edmontonians and city builders have the tools necessary to build the city envisioned in the city plan. And we also want to consider and address systemic discrimination and social inequities with zoning. Like many cities across Canada and around the world, Edmonton zoning reform seeks to address housing choice and diversity, social inequities, and the separation of land uses that have resulted in the segregation of people, production, and places. With this initiative, Edmonton has an opportunity to rethink what, how, and why the city regulates in terms of zoning and land development through these 4 key projects. We're going to be creating a new zoning bylaw. We need to rezone land citywide to align with the new zoning bylaw. We want to provide technology to manage the new zoning bylaw and improve the online customer experience for planning and development services. And we want to ensure a smooth transition to the new zoning bylaw and technology through thoughtful implementation. With the project goals and the user groups in mind, coupled with extensive research into municipal best practices, jurisdictional scans, development trends, and new city policy, we developed our approach to rewriting the new zoning bylaw. The approach is that supporting greater flexibility, adaptability, and service excellence will require a different approach to regulations and a willingness to let go of prescriptive control over specific and detailed development outcomes. Our approach falls into the 7 categories as noted on the slide. We're looking to have a new layout and interface to improve user experience. We want to have accessible language with more graphics and illustrations that enable regulations to be understood by most people. We're looking at opportunities for a hybrid bylaw. There are different types of zoning bylaws, and we're looking to integrate. We want to have fewer and more enabling and inclusive zones with the purpose of standard zones accommodating a range of built forms and uses. We want to have broader uses for a greater range of activities to occur in a particular building or space. We need to have purposeful and enforceable regulations with a goal to reduce regulatory complexity and moving away from discretionary uses to create more predictability for community and applicants. And we want to create a zoning bylaw for everyone. We have created a number of tools and frameworks to help with writing the new zoning bylaw. And the first one is our decision informing tool. We know that there'll be some difficult decisions to make in drafting the new zoning bylaw. Deciding what to regulate through zoning will just be as important as deciding what not to regulate. There'll be benefits, risks, and trade-offs with each decision to ensure that the new zoning bylaw balances achieving policy outcomes with reducing regulatory burden. So to do this, we've created a framework to inform decision-making. And the framework asks the following 2 questions. Should the zoning bylaw regulate this? And if yes, then to what degree should it be regulated? Answering these 2 questions will support sound and justifiable decisions and will ensure that regulations in the new zoning bylaw are evidence-based, are clear on their intent, are regulating based on land use, and not the users of a particular business, activity, or building. To advance Edmonton's city plan and its goals of an inclusive and compassionate city, we believe it's important to reflect on the city's past, of the regulations and policies that have negatively impacted people, to rethink our present-day actions, and to imagine what an equitable future could look like. And while there are multiple municipal tools that need to be leveraged to confront inequity, one of the most impactful tools is the city zoning bylaw. Edmonton and City Council has successfully advanced equity measures in the past through zoning bylaw amendments like abolishing single-family only zoning or removing parking minimums or enabling supportive housing across the city. These zoning changes underscore the importance of diverse housing to welcome a diverse demographic of people to our city. But we know more work can be done. With the Zoning Bylaw Renewal Initiative, we have an opportunity to update our land use regulations to better reflect our city's current size, its future direction, and its diversity. Through an equity lens, we can draft regulations that are based on land use impacts and not based on people. We want to accommodate all kinds of housing needs. We want to create attainable and affordable types of housing. We want to support informal gatherings, the recreation, the arts, the culture, and spirituality. And we want a bylaw that is easier to understand, interpret, and enabling more people to engage and use it. We have another 2 years of work ahead of us. This illustration captures at a high level the key activities we'll be working on for each project of the initiative. We're continuing to write, refine, and test the new zoning bylaw up until August of this year. During this time, there'll be some targeted stakeholder engagement on certain topics, such as the advocacy or community groups on childcare regulations. We will then be doing public and stakeholder engagement on the new zoning bylaw and map from September to November of this year. We'll have 2 check-ins with our Urban Planning Committee, which is a committee of council, and will be presenting the draft bylaw on 2 occasions. Our target date for going to public hearing is November 2023, with an effective date of the new zoning bylaw and map of January 1st, 2024. A detailed schedule can be found on our website at edmonton.ca and look for the zoning bylaw renewal. Just to highlight a few achievements to date, as I mentioned, the new zoning bylaw is currently being drafted. We've done numerous and different engagement activities, and we've also done a technical analysis that has led to the regulatory approach. We've conducted further research on zoning topics and developed tools to guide the drafting of the bylaw, such as I mentioned, the decision informing tool. We've also created a gender-based analysis plus and equity toolkit, a plain language writing guide, and a visual styles guide. In regards to the rezoning project, we have developed a rezoning framework. This framework will provide a set of guiding principles to inform what a property's new zone will be. Most notably, that properties will be rezoned to the closest equivalent new zone to what is currently in place. The rezoning framework also identifies the minimal legal requirements for advertising and notification of the public hearing for the new zoning bylaw and map. We have a bylaw going to public hearing on March 15th. Technology and implementation is an exciting component of the initiative. This will include acquiring a new digital interface for the bylaw, and we'll be creating a new site-specific interactive zoning map. The initiative is looking for further opportunities for the automation of development permit reviews, such as for greenfield single and semi-detached housing development permits. Quite a bit of work will be spent on updating workflows, application forms, and facilitating training to ensure a smooth transition to the new zoning bylaw for staff and for our customers. Zoning is a complex topic that can be very difficult for many to understand and engage with. To ensure every Edmontonian is prepared to participate and their needs are accommodated, administration will be tailoring the design of engagement activities based on audience. Residents, equity-seeking communities, industry, community groups, community leagues, stakeholder groups, and more. An extensive range of engagement methods will be customized based on participant time commitment and will span in 2022 in the following ways. To educate, to create awareness and understanding, and to ensure Edmontonians have the tools and resources to fully participate. Listen, to gather initial insights, perspectives, and experiences related to zoning. Discuss, to facilitate two-way conversations on the draft zoning bylaw and map. And refine, to validate feedback and input shared, and to loop back with Edmontonians. So some of the engagement tactics will include stakeholder meetings and roundtables. We'll be having an information hub on our website, using the Engaged Edmonton platform, a design charrette, information sessions, surveys, and online workshops. We also have a vast variety of communication and marketing tactics, including podcasts, videos, websites, monthly blogs, newsletter, targeted stakeholder emails, media relations, and press conferences. This is a multi-year initiative, and there'll be many opportunities to stay informed and engaged on the initiative. If you're interested in learning more, please visit our website and sign up to our newsletter to stay informed of upcoming engagement activities. The zoning bylaw team will continue to add content to the website as the initiative moves forward. We also have a general feedback form on our website if you have ideas that you want to share with us now. We look forward to working with you. Your insights and dedication will be critical to the success of this initiative. Thank you in advance for your support.
Thank you, Olivia. In summary, we know that our stakeholders need time to comprehensively review and provide input on the zoning bylaw renewal initiative and district planning efforts. That's why we have planned many additional touch points that Shauna and Olivia have both mentioned. Over the coming months, we're going to continue to ask you and other Edmontonians to dig deep and to think critically, curiously, and collaboratively to help us advance these projects. Your perspectives will help us to identify issues and solutions, and we're open to hearing your thoughts. Let us know if there are other ways in which you'd like to stay engaged or like to receive information, and we'll do our best to accommodate. Your input matters, and we're grateful for your time. Thank you to everyone for attending today and for EFCL for providing this opportunity to share with you the progress of these two important Edmonton planning projects. We're excited about the possibilities for Edmonton to grow into a vibrant, inclusive, and prosperous place. With your interest and input, you are helping to realize the vision of the city plan. We're looking forward to engaging with you today and through the coming months. Thank you.